suffering. This is as true in parenting as it is in marital relationships. Love, from a Catholic perspective, is always directed towards another, and its purpose is to bring us closer and closer to God. Love for our neighbor frees us from concern with ourselves and its consequent problems, from destructive emotions such as bitterness, hatred, accumulated resentments, despair, to not finding a purpose in life and suffering from loneliness and isolation. Unconditional love, called agape, is a concern or active interest in the well-being of others, something that does not depend on the actions of the other. The above means in part that we are not called to allow disparities and inequalities to determine our attitude toward others with whom we have relationships. Individual sacrifice is also agape love, but even there such a sacrifice made out of love and in reparation is based on the love of God, because self-care lies in the fact that we are all children of God, which is much more than the means to obtain another goal, heaven. 3. Self-love or selfishness is so common and current that is why Jesus took it as a point of reference. Love your neighbor in the same way as you love yourself. Single quote. When she was in elementary school, the teacher would sometimes solve the first problem on a homework sheet to show us how we could solve the rest of the 585 problems. Jesus made use of our self-love in the same way. Notice the way you love each other, and love your neighbor in the same way. However, self-love presents a particular challenge. Between the extremes of feeling inferior and or superior to others we find various styles of authentic self-love, which give the person the ability to take ownership of themselves and provide for themselves. Yes, the necessary care, e.g. for us to love ourselves as we are, we must forgive ourselves for everything we have done against ourselves due to darkness and pain, a consequence of loneliness, frustration, anger and negative forces. Love is an act of endless forgiveness, a tender look that becomes a habit. Peter Ustinov. Become a member of the channel and be an instrument of the Word of God. Don't miss this opportunity to impact lives. Click the link in the description now and help us spread the Word of God. The Servant Leader. By Paul Andrew. Summary. Servant leadership goes through certain phases. 29b. Whoever wants to be great among you, let him be your servant. Servant leadership goes through certain phases. 1. The first phase is that of the atheist or agnostic. In this phase, servant leadership is seen as simply another scheme of those who want to manipulate people for their own benefit. Those affected suffer from anger and deep work experiences have left their mark on them, e.g. the politicking and manipulation of special favors and privileges from Santiago. And Juan managed to make his mother the bearer of the request. Notice that Jesus resists the concession of giving the brothers what they are asking for. Little did they know when Jesus would enter his kingdom. We know that in the future there would be two thieves hanging on their respective crosses, one to his right and one to his left. In reality, it does not